Hi there guys, George here coming to you with another video about how to create a phase wheel. The way I do it is I first start in Word. So let me give you a more rounded perspective of how the Word file looks like, okay? So here's the main menu, and you start by inserting. There you go. Insert and then shapes. And of course you're going to pick an octagon because there's about 8 phases. Once you select that, what you want to do is click on the Shift key and draw your octagon shape. Now, as you can see, there are 2 octagon shapes here. So this is going to be a quick overview. I'm not going to go into much detail, but I'm sure you can figure it out on your own. And I'll give you the steps. So how do I get these centered? Pretty easy. You go to View and you select the grid lines. And you can see the grid lines. So you can see between one shape and the next, there is 2 squares or a quarter of an inch, more or less, between one border and the other. So when you make sure that there's 2 squares between each border of each shape, you know that it's centered. That's pretty much it. You can go through the step of counting the size of the biggest shape versus the small shape, subtract it 2 and divide by 2 the difference by 2, and you'll get how to center everything all around, especially if all these sides are equal. These babies here, they're screen clippings from the Wikipedia. So I looked up the British Army, the US Army, Soviet, and the Free French for the Allies, as opposed to the Randalls, which have to do with the Air Force. We're dealing with an infantry type game. And then the same thing for the Axis. Well, I got this from the Wikipedia as well. It looks like a good symbol for Axis Italy, the German cross, the rising sun, and this is the finish. Once you do that, you print it out on paper, and the pictures are here. Okay, I'll show you. Yeah, this is the printouts. Okay, and pretty much what you get is this, and you gotta cut one shape out with flaps and the other one without flaps. And the reason why is because the ultimate product looks like this, and it looks like this because there is a foam mitre that I repurposed for this project. And if you take a look at the second picture, there's the foam already filled in. And basically, foam has a hard time sticking. Even with hot glue, it eventually unsticks. It's not something that you can really glue together unless you have special kind of glue. And not all the glues work well. So in that regard, I suggest that you watch another video with which glue works best with foam. But what I've done is that I constructed or cut out one shape with flaps so they can fold over. And what the glue actually does, it adheres paper to paper, and the foam is just a filler. So this is what happened here. I first cut it, and then I cut out a foam octagon, and one piece of paper has flaps, the other one does not. And this is like something I picked up from how to cover a balsa wood airplane. That's pretty much the same technique. And the glue that I used was pretty straightforward. This is the glue that's readily available here, Walmart, and the kids used to use it for projects at school. So whatever's left over, I use for my own projects. And as I can say, school glue. But your best bet, though, is a glue stick. I'll tell you why the glue stick is better in a minute. So glue stick, especially you guys over in Europe, if you have Yoo-Hoo, Yoo-Hoo is a great brand of glue. Highly recommended for all your projects. And then basically what you got is this, and it sounds pretty good. It sounds like wood, but it's not wood. It's foam board, very light. If ultimately you don't like it, you can also use it as a dolly for your drinks. It also serves for your drinks. You can plastify it if you want. So here it is. And basically, you got to position the paper. The last thing you got to do is position the paper so this is the Axis rally phase. When you get to each phase and you get to close combat, so that's all the way around. There you go. You flip it over, it's the Allied. Let's see, flip it over. Here's the Axis close combat phase. Flip it over, it's the Allied rally phase. And you get these beautiful symbols that you can get off the internet. I highly recommend Wikipedia. And there are sheets that you can plastify. Now, the only mistake I did was using this hardcore glue. And if you were able to see this a little bit, the problem with this glue is it's too watery. There's a lot of liquid. It takes more time to dry as opposed to the glue stick, which is more dry, goes on quickly. What I do recommend is that you lightly sand the foam so you can get any flash off, and then use the glue stick and make sure that you glue paper on paper at some point, and then the foam is stuck in there. Everything is nice and tight, and it's a great thing to have as a reminder of which phase you're in, whether you're playing online or face-to-face. And like I said before, if you ultimately don't like the outcome, you can also use it as a dolly for your drinks. Boink. And by the way, that cup was dry. Having said that, I should get another video up for you shortly. And I have another overall tutorial. And hopefully what I'm going to get to do is show you the rules by playing a little DIY scenario and play and example together. All right, guys, take care and have a great week ahead. Stay safe and roll low. Take care.